When I made this video originally, I made it in a familiar, explanatory style that gives the Grant we have at home feel. However, in the year it's taken to release this video, I've been inspired to present a solo unit challenge in a bit of a different format, taken from another YouTuber. So today, I'm going to try and defeat StarCraft Brood War's true colors with only Infested Terrans. For base stats, they have 60 HP, 0 armor, 4.464 speed, which is decently fast, cost 100 minerals and 50 gas, and have a massive 500 damage attack. This outrageously high attack stat comes at a high cost though. The Infested Terran's only move is Explosion, which causes the user to faint after using it. For TMs, it can learn Dig after it's researched at the hatchery. While the Infested Terran functions similarly to its Generation 2 counterpart, the Baneling, an exceptional unit, it lacks two very critical traits that make it good. First, its explosion attack affects all units adjacent to the Infested Terran, including allies. This makes a whole party of Infested Terrans no more effective than a single one in most cases. Second, the ability Aftermath was given to the Baneling in Generation 2, allowing it to detonate upon dying. The Infested Terran does not have this ability, so if it's killed before attacking, it will be completely neutralized as a threat. This dictates a lot of my playstyle that I'm going to have to use throughout this solo challenge. I'm required to outspeed my opponent, land Explosion, and not take too many of my other units out in the process because the amount of StarCraft dollars on the map is limited. Unlike an Infested Terran's only run of a mission like the Liberation of Core Hull, I don't get access to my solo unit right away. In order to produce them, I have to infest a Terran command center. To do that, I need to get the structure below half HP, and then send a Zerg Queen over to infest it. This brings me to an important rule of the run. I'm going to use my starting units to only damage command centers so they can be infested. Usually, this would require fighting through defenses in order to get there, but this mission's gimmick has me covered. The mission starts with a 6-minute sneak attack timer, where I can attack the enemies while they are resting. I make a quick attack towards the first two command centers and infest them, and then the solo run is on for real. I immediately have my command centers use Fly and land in a safe spot on the map, then start producing Infested Terrans. Once the sneak attack is over, both of the enemies in this double battle will attack me with substantial forces in retaliation. The Infested Terrans I produce here have to get big critical hits on the Protoss attack wave in order for me to win the battle. I've set up my defenses with evolution chambers in order to stall out the enemies so I have time to get more attacks in. I get the necessary crits with a few resets and move on to the Terran counterattack. This one doesn't require luck, but it does require the help from a weather setting ability, Dark Swarm. This localized weather effect is an accuracy debuff, causing enemy ranged attacks to miss if they're targeting any unit under the cloud. It allows my Infested Terrans to use their speed to take out the enemy Terrans, and that's that. The goal of this mission is to destroy all of my two opponents' buildings. To do this on minimum battles, I need to take out all of the enemy's unit-producing structures and the workers that make those structures. Additionally, I need to defeat two champions, Phoenix and Duke. I begin my training with a dozen or so Infested Terrans and have my HM user overlords fly to vulnerable locations along the route. This setup turn allows my Infested Terrans to use this sky attack to deal massive damage as they reach the ground. My damage ranges knock out all of the probes in the splash radius, but I have to 4-shot the Nexus. Once enough attacks hit, I've won the battle. Simultaneously, I engage in another battle at the other Protoss base and repeat the same tactic. After connecting with another 4 hits, the Protoss have no way to revive their infrastructure. The next part of the route involves taking out all of Protoss's unit-producing structures. By using Fly into very specific towns, I can avoid any optional trainers in the area and target down all of the gateways, robotics facilities, and stargates. This paralyzes the Protoss and renders them ineffective for the rest of the game. Finally, I take on the champion of Protoss, Phoenix. He gets locked into chatter for the entire fight and goes down with no struggle. He really is the Lieutenant Surge of StarCraft boss fights. In the western region of the map, I need to repeat the same process, but there's a complication. The Terran science vessels have Toxic, whittling my overlords down quickly with this damaging status condition. After several resets, I have to rethink my strategy. I fly over to a small peninsula and then establish a Nidus canal. allowing my Infested Terrans to teleport directly from my base to my opponents and lets me optimize my overworld movement. I once again used the weather condition Dark Swarm to lower my opponent's accuracy, giving me ample time to complete my setup and take down Terran's production structures and workers. The champion for Terran is General Duke, who specializes in flying types. My Infested Terrans can't hit them, and this is a required fight. In the spirit of the challenge, I decided to use a unit that most resembles the Infested Terran, the Scourge. Scourge fly and have final gambit, sacrificing themselves in order to deal heavy damage to one flying enemy. With this, Duke faints, and I'm left with only a few trivial mandatory battles. This section is the Crystal Rocket plotline of the run. It's trivial to complete and takes a painfully long time. Due to many trips back to the center, my sustained damage output is extremely low. The Infested Terran does 500 damage once, and several buildings have health in multiples of 500. You may think this leads to a clean 2-shot, but that's not the case. Buildings have a defense stat too, so the damage is reduced by exactly enough to leave them at 1 hit point. I can't even go over a damage rounding threshold to make this go faster. Infested Terrans gain no benefit from upgrades. As the final structure falls, the Infested Terran clocks in with a second playthrough time of 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 19 seconds, with 48 resets, and an in-game time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 57 seconds. It took over 700 Infested Terrans to destroy 182 structures. On the tier list, this puts the Infested Terran in the Dragoon tier. They're not impossible to win with solo, but they're easily the worst combat unit. Almost every Zerg unit can complete this mission faster due to the simple fact that they can deal damage more than once. Hydralisks are the S-tier standard with a completion time of 12 minutes and 47 seconds, and Zerglings are just behind in the 16-minute range. If you like this format of video but for Pokemon, consider watching Scott's thoughts. I had to take so many references and word choices from his videos to make this happen, and it was a ton of fun. He too plays StarCraft, so absolutely subscribe to his StarCraft 2nd channel, both of which are linked in the description. Now, if you've made it this far, you're exceptional, and I'll see you in the next one.